Two short people talking.
Kia ora koutou everyone, I'm Zoe. This is Jared. We've got a lot to say and it's only 6 minutes and 40 seconds, so I'm going to do our intro now and then Jared's going to start talking about himself on the first slide because he wants to talk lots. We've drawn our imagery from 5 popular mechanics magazines from the 50s and a few girls' own annuals that I have stashed under my bed, so I hope you appreciate the pictures. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about art and activism and some thoughts that we've got about that. So, yeah, we're quite excitable, so if we talk over each other, you'll have to forgive us.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Garage Collective, basically. It's just me. It's not a collective, it's just me. The secret's out. But basically it's just me making hand screen printed poster art out of my garage. As well as my own practice, I make work for independent bands, local and international, and also for grassroots political causes. I majored in graphic design at Fine Arts, but managed to spend most of my time in the printmaking department, where I learnt the kind of basics, but then once I left school I set it up myself and kind of built everything with my old man. Screen printing is just really cool because it's kind of loose, raw medium, and it's really craft-based and there's lots of mistakes, and it's really kind of different to the digital offset kind of aesthetic. Basically, a lot of my understanding of kind of DIY and existing outside of the design industry comes from just a passion and kind of hardcore. Hardcore is inherent, has things about questioning dominant, normal, status quo things, and it's an essential framework for Garage Collective and how I make work.
I'm sorry you can't read the words there, but that's about my practice. I've always been making art that's sort of based on the experiences of my everyday life and really interested in using art processes as a tool for engaging people with social, political, environmental issues in their communities and also, you know, overseas and stuff. And my practice currently is really located in the geographical area I live in, which is Addington, and the Addington Women's Revolutionary Craft Circle. Woo woo! So yeah, I'm all about like craft as like a radical thing that's sort of like quite, you know, the values underlying craft are really different from the dominant kind of capitalist culture. Anyway, so we wanted to say, what is activism? Well, it's kind of about intentional action towards social change, and I guess we're kind of a little bit wary of that term because there's kind of this holier-than-thou evangelical thing associated with activism, but we're really about grassroots organising in communities. Yeah.
Basically, we're interested in anarchism, which is a bit of a dirty word. It's basically about, it's concerned with systems of power, which basically we see as hierarchy as being essentially a problem in all aspects of society, and basically we believe that means and ends are the same thing, and that's why a lot of anarchists will avoid party politics and hierarchical forms of social change.
Yeah, so there's this double bind. If you're into activism and you're into art, you kind of get dissed by both kind of groups, and yeah, that's kind of problematic because lots of people have multiple identities and lots of people are interested in more than one thing, so that's kind of the place we're coming from. So we're really interested in sort of working those intersections between art and activism and looking at what each of those things have to offer each other. The kind of that art can be envisioned as like an activist tool. It's about communication, education, empowering and organising and all that sort of stuff, so yay.
Basically, this is quite full on a quote, but we kind of believe that when a society labels an artist or designer, well, I mean, for us it's problematic to be called artists because in a society where individual importance is placed over kind of your social commitments, we kind of think that's kind of an unjust society, and we don't really want to be part of that.
And I guess over this, art's kind of like this game, you know, like, and it evolves according to like what's going on. And this is a cool thing from like the Situationists, which is kind of like equating art and everyday life as like the same thing. So they sort of envision that like throwing a brick at a cop's head or burning down a factory could be art. Ooh.
I mean, for myself, I consciously avoided the design industry because, as a generalisation, its primary role as an industry is to aid the exploitation of cheap labour, the continuation of rampant consumerism, corporate profit, and the growth of the economic system that we feel quite strongly against. Yeah, time's out.
This wasn't meant to be about artists being at the bottom of the food chain when it comes to government funding, and I guess something I've been thinking about a lot is that am I applying for the grant because I know what they want to hear? And I guess I'm kind of over the whole polite wording and toning down my politics just so that I can get permission from a government bureaucrat to make art. So, yeah, go DIY.
Yeah, DIY is really important for us. It's just a way of you know, making work on our own terms and using that kind of anarchist principle of direct action. And not to imitate the kind of industry we're critiquing, but actually to create a completely different set of values and ideals ourselves.
So this is just a little bit about art and culture should be something we participate in, not something we consume at the art gallery or at the movies or whatever. Yep. There's not much to say on this slide. It's cool, it's a backyard roller coaster. Unpacking privilege. There's this interesting connection between artists and activists, as they both tend to actually... it's like this dirty little secret in the closet that I'm middle class and white and educated, and I don't really want to unpack that because, you know. So I guess we just think that it's really important to unpack our privilege because we don't want to become this vanguard directors for the silent masses as artists.
We basically think that mainstream art kind of deals with a very select minority, which is usually us, and we like to make work that's concerned with a wider audience, especially a lot of people in the working class and who don't have a voice to speak and who art completely alienates, basically.
And I guess another principle of anarchist organising is sort of just that collective struggle is really important because our ability to affect change as individuals is kind of determined by our relative power as individuals. So as an artist, that kind of complicates things because like the whole industry and the way you're educated at art school, whatever, is sort of, it's all about the individual and stuff. And this was just kind of about that idea that activists and artists also tend to sort of get carried away with sort of utopian fantasies, and we're just really, just concerned that the role of artworks shouldn't be to form sort of these imaginary kind of utopian realities, but to be actually ways of living and models of action within the existing real. And sorry that you can't read that quote, but it's pretty much just about that we need to get out of our studios and stop just sort of producing culture in isolation, but really connecting with like the struggles of everyday life of all the people around us and ourselves as well. So, yay.